let's get started. YouTube, that girl Sam1 coming at you with the realest entertainment, and today we have a special kind of review, kind of video type of dealio thingamajigger for you guys out there who are interested in both Postmates and Grubhub. We are a couple. Wow. We are a couple who has fortunately worked both. I myself have worked Grubhub and Postmates, and Robbie here has worked Postmates. And so we are going to come to you and give you like the best and worst type of like situation, dealios, frequently questions asked type of things for you guys to kind of understand if you want to work for Postmates, if you want to work for Grubhub, or if you just want to do both. So
yeah, I mean, I would say when I was deciding what I wanted to do and kind of a stint where I didn't have a corporate America job, I went and, you know, I just was told by Simone she was doing Postmates, so it was easy. I was just like, Postmates, that's what I'm doing. And I had a roommate that was doing Lyft. Great, Lyft, that's what I'm doing. I did those two apps together, regardless of what you hear today. Postmates versus Grubhub, Grubhub versus Postmates, Lyft, you know, we're not going to talk about that today, but I would strongly encourage you to do multiple apps. If you're not doing, if you're trying to do this to actually make money and not just like side hobby, kickback when you have free time, even then probably, I would encourage you to do two apps. Search the best in your area. I've never seen a forum, I've never seen a video, never seen anything out there to kind of put two and two together. You know, I wish we had experience on all of them for every major city. But this we've noticed are kind of two of the bigger ones. They're in two of the bigger markets. So we figured we would spin these off because they're probably, what I've realized, they're in some stage or some cycle of the delivery service. I personally, and this kind of jump ahead, think Postmates is newer, and they're still learning because you can tell some of the technology they're implementing from Grubhub. You know, that's what companies do, right? Or DoorDash or anything like that. They find certain things from companies that are more experienced than them, and then they implement them. But there's pros to Postmates being a newer company too, so we'll get into all that.
So Robbie's gonna get started with talking about what is Postmates. He's really good at that. I may add in a couple of things, but if you guys haven't seen my other two videos that I've made, I will link them both down below, and they will be in a card somewhere up here as well. And so if you're really looking at just working Postmates, or you already are working Postmates and want some tips and tricks and maybe to learn even a little bit more about the company, or just to seal that final tip, definitely make sure to check out those two videos because I do explain a whole lot. And my seal the tip video is definitely helped a lot of people, and I've got a lot of feedback on that. And make sure you read the comments too, because I do answer questions and stuff, and so some questions that you may have about Postmates that may not get answered in this video definitely are in the comment section, so make sure you go ahead and check those out after this video. But what is Postmates?
Postmates, long story short, is a delivery service. Delivery service as in just like a Pizza Hut delivery guy, a Domino's delivery guy, but take that times 10. They can not only deliver your Domino's, your Pizza Hut, and you might ask, well, why would we deliver those? Those companies already deliver that. Well, we pick up from multiple restaurants that actually already deliver, because how many Pizza Hut delivery guys are there? One, maybe two, maybe on a weekend 3. How many people are ordering pizza every 10 minutes during the Super Bowl, during big sporting events?
True.
Tons of people.
Yeah.
How many people are working Postmates at one time? A lot more than 3, I can tell you that, and especially during those big events, because they know they can get paid more top dollar compared to a delivery driver. It's going to be the same no matter what the night is. So you want to pay for speed, but ultimately, like I was saying, it's a delivery service that will deliver almost anything, with the few exceptions of depending on market, tobacco, alcohol.
What state you're in, basically, is what he means by
that's
what
what I mean,
market.
And then the obvious illegal substances, etc. So, the most common things are on the opposite ends of the spectrum of what is typically delivered. Pizza Hut, Chinese food. So you have below that, like fast food. I can't even tell you how many times I deliver from Chick-fil-A and Denver.
Especially in Colorado, yeah.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, nicer restaurants where typically you might go out to get drinks or whatnot. You find out you really like the food. You're staying in tonight, but you still want to eat something more high quality without going into the fire of waiting an hour or 2 hours. Because typically I found even when those places have a long wait, we can get in and out of there just as fast as a fast food
if not
restaurant.
faster, honestly.
Yeah.
Most cases.
So that's kind of Postmates in a nutshell. We're delivering what you don't want to go get, or what can't actually be delivered via, and even like grocery stores. I know Walmart and those type of places deliver now. Great, they only have a few people doing that, and
might back up at some times too.
They might back up. They're gonna take a while. They're probably, from what I've heard, more expensive even than Postmates, especially if you get somebody that knows what they're doing when they go grocery shopping. So yeah, it's a delivery service for anything that's not out there on a platform ready to be delivered, or even those things that are, but are more convenient to be delivered by us.
Goods and services and food, but like some of those that would be an example of, like, I've delivered an iPhone before, I've delivered a MacBook computer before, I've delivered a car battery before to someone who was just like on the side of the road and really needed one. So I know that in Colorado they just passed with Postmates and got the licensing or something like that we could now deliver alcohol there, so you can order alcohol. I believe in Texas you're allowed to deliver tobacco. So where, like, we live in Dallas, Texas now, like if we got an order for tobacco, we'd be able to deliver it for you. I'm not sure if we can do that in Colorado or not, but I know that we can do alcohol. But that's what he means. If it's not like weed, obviously, or like, other drugs is what he was saying. Like, we pretty much, Postmates delivers literally just about anything. What Grubhub is it's pretty much just like Postmates except for just food. So it is and it isn't. It's just food though. We deliver from anywhere, any restaurant that you can think of. I know a lot of background of what Grubhub is comes off of Yelp, so if you've ever used Yelp, I'm sure most of you have heard of it at least. A lot of like Grubhub, the server-wise, comes from Yelp, so you just hop on Grubhub, you order something from your favorite restaurant or from a new restaurant or from a 5-star restaurant or whatever you want to try, as long as it is food related. We go and pick it up for you and we deliver it to you within the hour. We do try and keep that at a minimum. We do have on our screen certain times that we should pick up your food by, certain times that we have to drop off the food to you, but more times than not, I've noticed it is within the hour. How do you work for them? How do you work for Postmates?
The position is technically called an independent contractor. I graduated in accounting, so that's like I said, that's the technical side of it. That's what you'd want to be considered. But what does that mean? Ultimately, they're trying to work with you, but you guys are as hands-off as possible together. Your relationship is as hands-off.
Literally.
I've talked to Postmates one time the entire time I've worked with them, beyond getting their emails, like their plug company emails. And I think that customer service rep went out of status quo because I've never been contacted like that, even though I've faced that situation plenty of times. So yeah, I'm an independent contractor. That basically just means they send me jobs, they contract the jobs out to me, I take care of them. What that means on their end, they can't be liable for really any of my screw ups, like out there in the field.
Nor the customer side.
Nor the customer side. If I get in an accident, they don't have to give me benefits. I don't have to work a certain amount of hours. Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, it's just a platform, essentially, is what an independent contractor would be, to get work from a bigger entity, which is Postmates. Yeah, I'm an employed, but not really an employee at all in that sense of like going into the office or anything like that. They do have some office hours and stuff like that, but it's pretty much useless as long as you have common sense.
Yeah, and like their offices are really small, I've learned too. Even in Colorado, like the office is really small. It's like run down. There's like 3 businesses inside this maybe like 800 square foot spot. And so their office isn't really all it's cracked up to be, at least for Colorado. There's like one main dude, and then, you know, just a whole bunch of people working Postmates.
You know, we still kind of are on the same platform, so we run into different individuals that do work Postmates, but then we'll run into competitors like Grubhub, DoorDash, Favor, Uber Eats is now a big one that we're running into.
Yeah.
So with Postmates, I strongly encourage people to get on the platform via my company referral. If you guys have ever worked at a corporate job, you've probably had that referral before. If you joined by yourself out of the blue, you're not going to get any bonus incentive. You want to use a referral program any way possible. The easiest is going to be with my email, which is blakrob0@gmail.com. It's blackrob0@gmail.com, but without the C. That's maybe a story for a later video. And that, on average, usually both myself would get that. That's why I share it with you, obviously, somewhat selfishly, but also it will benefit you guys because we usually get about the same amount. It averages around $200, and it's for doing the same amount of work you're going to do anyways. You know, they'll send out what exactly that'll be, but it's typically like 30 deliveries in the first 30 days. That's like 15 minutes out of your day every day.
Yeah.
It's super easy to do, and like I said, you won't get that regardless how many. You could do 1,000 deliveries in the first month, and you won't get that unless you use that email. So use that, get some money right off the start.
And selfishly, like you said, it's not even selfishly, it's just like, it just helps us out a lot too, because we want to help you guys as much as possible with starting off, and especially if you're going to start these programs, like we would just want to give you the jump start that we didn't have, or like we've heard friends that they didn't have or anything like that. And like I explained in my previous videos that I've made on Postmates, just the jump and the help that I had, you know, could have started with would have been really awesome. So
yeah, I mean, $200
starting with extra gas money and stuff like that.
Yeah, $200 is going to pay for your gas for like the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're essentially just putting everything you earn into your pocket, opposed to having to like think, oh well, I spent $10 on gas today and I only made 60 or 70, whatever the case may be. Well, no, actually you're pocketing all that because you know you're going to get that bonus.
Yeah. And then how you work for Grubhub is, I mean, essentially kind of like the same thing. It definitely is still independent contracting like Postmates. However, they still have like an onboarding session. I'm not sure. I know when Robbie signed up, they didn't. When I signed up 2 years ago, 2 years ago, they did. But with Grubhub, it's essentially the same process. You go, you sign up, you hit up the referral code that we will give you. If you guys want to use that, that would be totally fine. We'd love the support too. But I will leave both of the links below for the rewards program that we're offering to you guys. So don't forget, if you sign up and you want that jump ahead start, use these for either Grubhub or Postmates. But with Grubhub, basically what you do is you sign up and then there's like a waiting process. I know in Colorado it wasn't too long. I signed up and then like a week later I was pretty much doing the onboarding session, and they'll send you an email. You do have to put in some information, and they do check your background as far as like your driving record and stuff like that. But with Grubhub, I didn't run into that problem, and I didn't run into that problem with Postmates too. But when I signed up for like DoorDash, which is a later story, they did call me out on like a ticket I had gotten like 2 years ago, and apparently like you have to have like a clean record for 2.5 to like 3 years to work with them, which is weird. So with DoorDash, it was completely different, but I haven't run into any problem signing up with Grubhub or Postmates as far as driving records go. And they have like insurance and stuff, which we'll get into a little bit later. But that's basically how you work for them, and then you wait for the onboarding session, you set up a time, and you go, and there's probably going to be other people with you, and they give you like this slideshow of like regional boundaries and everything, and they talk about the information that you'll need, and then they give you a bag and like 2 shirts and a hat, ding, ding, and then you're pretty much ready to go that same day, which was freaking awesome. And with Grubhub, we actually don't have a prepaid card. Like, the customer pays for their order ahead already, and then because Grubhub steps in, they're able to tip you if they want to. But essentially, like, Postmates has a prepaid card that sometimes you'll have to use for like fast food restaurants or things like that. I haven't run into any fast food restaurants with Grubhub, but the orders that people place with Grubhub, they're already pre-ordered and prepaid for, so you literally just walk in, say who you're there for, say you're with Grubhub, they give you your order, and you go. So, pay rates.
Pay rates wise, I don't know the exact structure for Texas. I can tell you it's lower than Colorado. Just due to the fact on a consistent basis, let's do it this way. I'm a numbers guy, so every day when I'm out there working in Denver, in Colorado, I would basically, every time I get an order, I'd say on average I'm going to make a minimum of $8. That's a minimum. $5 for the delivery and $3 per tip. That's what I usually just kind of consider. Well, with it down here, it's going to be very rare that I made more than $4. Due to it doesn't pay out as much for where you pick up to your drop-off location. Colorado is 88 cents a mile from where you pick it up to where you drop it off. Part of it might be because Denver is a little more spread out as well. But even then, I've delivered stuff, a couple miles, a few miles. So I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, what the algorithm is to why maybe it doesn't pick up after a certain mileage, but it seems like here they are more focused on the time it takes for you to complete the order. You also do get paid on the mileage, I can tell, but I've taken orders 10 miles or more where it would have been $15 delivery fees in Colorado, and they've only been like 10 here. So it's definitely, the pay rates are definitely lower down here, and unfortunately tips seem to be less common.
Yeah, they don't tip in Texas. Like, y'all and mother heifers, sorry, don't tip at all, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and less fluffy, and less regularly both. There would be, if I'm getting a 20% tip here, then I'm pretty shocked.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of what you expect when you get service from a restaurant. You typically, if it's great service, tip 20%. And I know I give great service just because in Colorado it was consistent. It's not like I'm comparing this on just a couple of jobs. You're obviously going to have some unhappy customers or some people that just hate life, and they're not going to tip you very well. But overall, if we're comparing markets, it's definitely Denver and well, I should say Denver because I know they just opened up in Colorado Springs. I don't know about the Springs if it's the same. I am also guessing though that it probably has something to do with the actual minimum wages and pay standards and standard of living costs and all that of certain areas too, because Colorado is definitely higher to live in than it is here in Texas. They don't have state taxes and all that type of stuff. So I would assume that's the main reason, but I can, I'll tell you about the why. It sounds like I'm making out Dallas and Texas to be like, oh, don't work Postmates. It's not necessarily true yet. Right. Hold off on that. But the pay rate wise, Denver is definitely better than Dallas. It's not really even close. Yeah. Mainly because of the tips.
Yeah. And then for Grubhub, like you were saying, tips are definitely very rare down here. It's nice to see because with Grubhub, we actually can see whether the customer has tipped or not before hand and before we even finish out the entire order, which is super nice because I know right away when a customer doesn't tip. Not that it changes anything, so don't get me wrong, but it's definitely like nice to see, oh, I got tipped for this job, or oh, like I'm gonna have to, you know, pray like I get tipped for the next job, because I've definitely had like 3 of my lowest jobs ever here in Dallas because people haven't tipped, and like because we get paid per mile like Postmates does, but we get paid per straight mile. We get paid per like straight street. We don't get paid for like the curves or like going on the highway or anything like that, whereas like the like Postmates just gets paid like per mile, like 88 cents per mile, and then 11 cents per wait time. We don't even get paid for wait time. So like we basically just get paid like mileage wise, and then we like per straight mile, and then we get paid tip. And so definitely within Dallas, I've noticed that like it's totally different, their system, and we only also get paid here in Dallas $9 an hour if we don't make like the cut. What Grubhub has, which is what I like, is they have a certain rate that if you don't meet, as long as you have a 75% acceptance rate or higher on jobs, they'll comp you the rest of that to make sure you stay at a $12 rate, which is in Denver, or a $9 rate, which is in Dallas. And so, which means basically if you don't accept 3 jobs, you're out until you make that up, and that carries over into the next day. So if you start with like a 75% acceptance rate on Tuesday, and then you miss more jobs on Wednesday, then they're not going to comp you for that day. If you if you don't keep that acceptance rate up, which is what I.
You have to accept 75% of your jobs. So if you get 4 jobs, you have to do 3 of them, or that's not going to apply.
And that carries over to the next day. It doesn't restart from 100%. You have to build that back up the next day if, you miss like days. And so it definitely differentiates. I agree with Robbie as far as like Colorado goes. Colorado definitely has like the higher pay rate. Of course, like you said, it's just also more expensive to live there. So haven't really figured that part out a bit, but just to let you guys know the difference. So it may also differentiate in your city too. But the pay rates that we've experienced, I would still say Colorado is definitely better in the city to work in, because Grubhub is in Colorado Springs too, as well as it's in Boulder. And both Boulder and Colorado Springs, according to our general manager who oversees us in Colorado, was saying that you'd rather work in Denver, basically.
So we're going to talk we're just going to kind of free flow some differences, what we like, what we don't like. Seems to be the best way to talk about, competitors, I guess to say, especially since we've experienced them both. And honestly, we don't really have any specific preference. I'm less experienced in Grubhub, so of course I'm gonna, like Postmates more, and Simone's probably the least, not necessarily the least biased, but we have our biases and whatnot. But so we just want to kind of talk it out, opposed to do strict talking points.
Yeah, and we are hoping that it might help you guys it might help you guys form your own opinions about either company, and if you want to work for both, or if you'd rather work for one versus the other. And
not make a biased opinion. But one thing that we always, the main thing that jumps out, I think that's the most applicable to someone that's deciding on which one to go with, or to go with both. Grubhub actually makes it really hard to kind of work with both formats, because Postmates, you don't have to schedule anymore. And this could be dependent on market. I'm not 100% sure on this. Haven't really dove into the research enough to know, but they used to set you up in 2-hour blocks, running.
An hour.
Oh yeah, they were hour blocks. And you pretty much could schedule yourself throughout the entire day. Some were blocked and you had to be right on it. It was so annoying. Now the format works to where you can just log on and work whenever you want. And I know that works, like I said, in Dallas and in Denver. Might be different, but I love that type of scheduling. It is more like a lift, to where it's just not as structured. That's what these apps are supposed to be like, in my opinion, but Grubhub does it a little differently.
Yeah, and as far as like scheduling goes for Grubhub, you definitely have to schedule. And in a sense, like if you're like a person like me who loves free time, I'd say that kind of keeps you more on track, just because like you with Postmates, like I could eventually just switch the app on and off anytime I wanted, and then if I fell behind for like the week or anything like that, like it was on me. So if you're a person who definitely keeps themselves more accountable like Robbie is, then I would say like the free scheduling is definitely a plus, because you just flip it on, you work. The rushes or the lunch rushes or dinner rushes are the best times to work in your city, and then when you're done, you flip it off and you don't have to sit there and whatever else. But like for me, we definitely have to create a schedule, and the way like Grubhub scheduling works is that there's like priority scheduling, which is first come, like first serve. That's what they give you. And then there's second day priority, which is like the people who performed well but didn't perform that well, so then they give you second priority to schedule yourself. So kind of like the better slots, but not really. And then last priority just means like you just sucked, you don't perform well working, you don't show up on time, like you drop a lot of blocks and things like that. Then they'll move you to last priority, which means basically you get whatever you get. And so it's definitely important, and it pushes you to perform. Like it pushes me to perform really well, because you definitely want to stay on the first come like priority. But at the same time, like the scheduling definitely gets a little irritating, because if you've been kind of like the day I had, just been, didn't get a lot of jobs today and just kind of sitting around. Obviously I didn't sit around because I work for YouTube, and so like making videos and editing and researching and stuff, I can move on to that, and I would much rather do that anyways. But for like somebody who may not be signed up with a different company like Postmates, or even, just somebody who's just solely depending on Postmates, it definitely can get a little tedious. And that's where the $9 or the $12 ratio comes in, because it pushes you to at least stay at that rate, which is nice as long as you're above that 75% rate. So the scheduling for me, it gets tedious because I get antsy when there's not a lot of activity going on, or when there's something I'd rather be doing like editing or doing YouTube. But it has its pros and cons, I'd say, but you do have to schedule yourself to work.
Yeah, and I said I guess make it impossible to work both apps. That's not really the case, I guess, but Grubhub, wisely I guess, with the blocks and whatnot, if you are trying to work those, you have to give Grubhub the priority. If not, you're going to kind of miss out on that guaranteed money. I think you would probably be foolish not to do that, but like Simone said, she's going back and working YouTube and editing and that type of stuff. That's when you could flip Postmates on, and you could still be getting that guaranteed money from Grubhub, but then you could also be doing a job from Postmates. Just might get a little hairy if you're on a Postmates job, like in the middle of it, it's taking a long time, and you accept a Grubhub job, and then your delivery from Postmates takes you way out, far away, because your Grubhub job is going to give you something close to you. You don't know where that Postmates delivery is going to be. So I personally wouldn't recommend mixing these two apps together. There's plenty of them out there though, that I would.
Yeah, like I know Favor and Grubhub are a little bit the same like that, where they do try and keep you within the same region that you flipped on your app while you were in that regional boundary, basically. So like I obviously, like here in Dallas, I flip on the app closer to Uptown, and they generally try and keep me in that Uptown area. And the same with Favor, I believe, like when you flip on your app within the region that you're in with Favor, they generally try to keep you within like a 10-mile radius of that. And so definitely for Postmates, I mean, like if you're ballsy like that, then okay. But like the other, like he was saying, that scenario, or like the scenario where, you could be headed to, do a Postmates job, and then because you're in that region, Grubhub picks it up and sends you another job exactly like that, and now you're stuck with two jobs, that you haven't even started to complete one job, and I feel like that would just be really sketchy and kind of like ultimately just weigh on you in the end, because I'm not sure with Grubhub, but I do know with Postmates, like they do give you ratings, and so you don't want your ratings to drop either, because that kind of like helps you or helps Postmates to pick like what jobs to give you. So I've heard. So I don't really know. I know in certain states, like, you know, if you stay at a certain rating for a certain amount of time, as I was doing my research, they actually give you better paying jobs than they would if you don't, which is kind of jacked up because I don't think Colorado does that. So.
Payments. So payments are definitely a difference.
Oh yeah.
You know, with Postmates, you got to kind of build up your account a little bit, and then they usually pay you out. You know, if I work on a Monday, I'm usually getting some money from. They'll pay you out by the day. So like if you work Monday, probably the earliest you're gonna get paid is like Thursday or Friday. They say they're gonna pay you out usually like that next week, so Monday. I've typically found it's sooner, but they will pay you out for that actual day. So that first day I get paid would be the first day that I worked. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I work Monday and I get paid out either that next Friday or Monday, that's gonna come out, like the day's earnings will get paid to you. And whatever tips have been accrued that day. Obviously, sometimes the tips don't come in right away, or even that week, they come on later, and that will just be tacked on later into the cycle. So yeah, pay is kind of unstructured. I hate it personally, because again, I'm a numbers guy. I want to know when I'm getting my money, exactly, you know, to the frame type of deal, and especially for like bills and everything. You know, sometimes you absolutely need the cash and you don't know. Sometimes they'll make deposits over the weekend, and then you don't get access to them, of course, until banks open on Monday. So you kind of just are getting teased as well. But Grubhub definitely is a little more structured on that end.
Yeah, and if you're definitely a numbers person, that definitely sucked. But if you were like me, who just really didn't keep track, and then, you know, maybe blew too much one day, you knew that that was going to be a recovery as long as it was within the Monday to, I even say, Thursday window. But I feel like with Postmates, there's like a certain threshold that, like, if you make over, like, I don't know, $100, dollars that day, or like $200 that week, like they end up paying you early so that they can just kind of get you paid out as soon as possible. But with Grubhub, that's definitely different. They pay you on Thursday, that's it. Like the banks are open Thursday. They pay you whatever you made between Monday, between Thursday to Thursday, that's what they pay you. So if you worked, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that'd be great, but you're gonna get paid out that money on Thursday. That's typically what it is, especially if you bank with a bank that I do. The past couple times I've got paid with Grubhub, it's Thursday morning, 12 o'clock in the morning, that's it. So it's not like weekly like Postmates is, where it's just kind of like, we pay you Monday to Monday, Tuesday to Tuesday, Wednesday to Wednesday, whatever you make up. It's not like that. Grubhub is, you get paid on Thursday. So
probably the main difference as far as payment goes, it's not necessarily in the exact payment, but it's how you can visualize it and how you can track it, is the tips. So one thing that's really became annoying with Postmates is when you complete a job, you don't know what the tip is for that specific job, usually till maybe a day, maybe even 2 or 3 days down the road, what that tip is.
yeah.
Like Simone said with Grubhub, instantly. Sometimes they might do a cash tip or whatnot, or maybe it'll be late to accrue, but that's very rare. To where Postmates, it's gonna just say pending under where you worked, or where the job was. So.
And that's been annoying because they were so up on that. Like when I first started working with them, I started working for them the first year that they were in Denver, the first year that they had started up. I had started in August of that year. They had started up, I believe, in March of that year. They're still fairly new, and that's one thing that has become annoying with Postmates, is that where they usually were on it, they tell you what tip you were, or even in your courier dashboard, you would be able to see the full amount that you got, whatever amount that you were making during the week, and there wasn't always this update going on. And now there is. And so with Grubhub, I would say even flip that. We don't get to see the only other frustrating thing with Grubhub is that you don't get to see the total of the amount of which you made for, say, Wednesday until Thursday. So until that cycle has been completed the entire day, they won't show you what you made. And they don't show you, they'll show you only tips. After you close out an order, they only show you the tips that you've made. They don't show you the full amount. And so that's kind of frustrating. Like, whatever I make on Wednesday, I won't be able to see what I made until Thursday, and then Thursday till Friday. And then they kind of just give you like a full amount, though, update as you go during the week from Thursday to Thursday. But that's kind of frustrating that we don't get to see, like, in total what we made. So tips, you get skipped out on tips with Postmates, and we just get skipped out on what the entirety that we made for that day until the next day.
And then I'd say at least the biggest one I know, and Simone can obviously bring out her other ones, but it's just not necessarily legitimacy. It seems like they all different per market. So like I was saying, in Colorado, Postmates seems to be a lot bigger than it is down here. All of these delivery services are big with our generation, you know, the millennials. For some reason, we're extremely lazy. We just want to order our food. We don't have people cater to us.
On demand.
For whatever reason. Yeah, on demand, exactly. An on-demand service. You don't want to have to wait. But with Colorado, that is like that generation, or not generation, but that carries to a lot of, you know, even individuals that are over 30, 40 years old.
Like the boomer generation.
Yeah, a lot of people are using it, and typically what does that mean? Are those individuals, you know, ordering Chick-fil-A? No, not typically. They're ordering nice restaurants, from nice restaurants. Another thing is Colorado consistently has like more higher end restaurants, and people like to eat at nicer restaurants than what it seems like out here. There are nice restaurants here, but there's, as far as quantity goes, they're more just like casual. And so that also is a reason that tips are higher out there, because the volume of food is what they tip off of. So at the end with Postmates, you get an option to tip. It's based on a percentage, typically, of how much you spent there.
Yeah, like with Postmates, it's like if you order fast food in Colorado, if you order fast food, it's a $1, $2, or $3 tip, or a no tip. But if you order from a nicer restaurant, then they do the 0%, 10%, 15%, and then 20%.
Yeah. So markets are different. Don't take our word for, you know, as the golden egg, I guess to say. But the main difference though that I was going to discuss is just where companies are, like, in the nurturing stage. So I just started with a tech company, and I guess that's why this even makes it more applicable to me, is because I see companies that are up here, and then I see companies that are down here still new to the game, still learning. Postmates is definitely on the spectrum. That doesn't mean their brand isn't great, but they are learning the technology, they are learning the systems. They're still learning, definitely. Every part about them. They have a lot of new franchises in different areas, and Grubhub's more up here. You can tell they have a much superior legal team, processes, etc., etc. So that isn't necessarily too much on your day-to-day what you need to worry about, because like I said, they both have great brands. But if you get into sticky situations, or if you have questions, or who you're picking up from has questions, that's when that becomes a problem. So it's not really a day-to-day thing, but you know, as far as more legitimate, just as a company from A to Z, Grubhub would take the cake there, I would say.
Yeah, and so just hearing each other talk, I guess, both of us, because we've never even done this where we've kind of sat down and just talked out like differences and things just like this.
No.
Overall, I would say, like, which one do you think is better to go with?
Which one would I have to recommend? Well, for the Denver market, I mean, I'll have to make it based on markets. I'll try to make a final decision. Denver market, I'd say it's almost a wash. Probably Grubhub, because they give you that $12 minimum, and there would be times, you know, I wouldn't make that with, if I was just working Postmates, which I haven't done enough. I'd always combine it with Lyft. So I'd probably say Grubhub gets the nod in Denver, but I would say so far in my experience I've worked a little Postmates before I started my job. Simone's worked Grubhub. I would say Postmates takes the cake down here. It just seems to be a lot busier, more even busier than in Denver. Like, I've done 15 jobs in a day, to where in like the first week that I worked, I only did that once, and that was on a Saturday, and I worked ridiculous hours. That's the only time I've ever done 15 jobs in Denver. So the volume is much higher here. So I'd say Postmates down here, Grubhub in Denver. So it probably is market based. See if you can figure out what the rates are going to be right when you start. Probably help you analyze and just see which one is more commonly used. That should be pretty easy to figure out with some Google search. That should be your deciding factor, because markets definitely make it dependent.
But I would definitely go as far to say, like, I agree with Robbie as well. And I would say that Postmates is definitely better to work down here in Dallas, but it is also, I feel like he was saying, just a bigger city in general, so there's just going to be higher volume. And as far as like Denver, or maybe like cities like around Denver, or maybe a little bit smaller, I'd say is Grubhub, just because you're also gonna get the more expensive restaurants. Because I noticed in Grubhub, like they, like he was saying, Grubhub or Postmates, like Grubhub in Denver, they just order top notch like restaurants like Cherry Creek. Denver is just a liberal state. They're just bougie. Colorado has just turned into an utmost bougie state. Let's just put it that way. So like the volume of like ordering from like expensive restaurants is definitely higher in Denver. And so yeah, to keep up with like the pay rate, versus like little or like lesser volume, I would say I agree. Like Denver is definitely a Grubhub, and for Denver, I've seen we deliver with Grubhub everywhere. Like everywhere, you don't see much of Uber Eats, or it's like Uber Eats and Grubhub, or Grubhub and DoorDash. Like that's Grubhub and Postmates is the Denver market. I would say Grubhub has definitely maxed out in the Denver market more than Dallas, where I see Favor or I see Postmates signs more so.
Yeah, and I mean, if money is not the be all for you, which obviously for some people it's not, then some characteristics things. If you're looking for more structure, I'd probably say Grubhub. If you're looking for a little more freedom, I'd probably say Postmates. If you want the company swagger, I'd probably go with Grubhub. If you're looking for, to kind of feel like a legit independent contractor, probably Postmates. So, money's not always the be all for everybody. We get that. So characteristics wise, there's some differences too. And so I would factor those in too if you're not just concerned about money. Look into that stuff as well.
Right. And so, like you said, you just definitely want to research, but this is kind of our two things, because I just was thinking the other day and I realized that we had both worked for Postmates, and then I have been working with Grubhub, and so I thought it would be cool to just kind of get together and tell you guys like our just our main tips and points, and what we mainly think about both companies, what could help you in the future, and what you might not like, just kind of sharing interests and stuff like that. So if you also want us to come back and do another video and just talk about like a few main points rather than just like a whole spectrum and kind of just trying to cover everything in one, leave us a comment below, because I kind of like us as a duo. It's cute. He's watching the Ducks game right now, so if he keeps looking
sorry
down.
if my eyes are going down, as you can see. Capitan, but it's kind of cool because the business models are very simple. It is just like a Lyft and Uber. It's like, Jesus, how did I not think of that? How am I not a millionaire right now? But when you talk about them, you can really list out a lot of differences, a lot of complexities, and that's why business isn't easy, and that's why all of us aren't millionaires right now, at least, because it takes some experience and some knowledge.
And so we just wanted to share that with you. And also, so leave us a comment below if you want us to just answer a few main questions. If you have just a few main questions, also leave them down below, and I will try to answer them as much as possible for either Postmates or Grubhub, because I have worked both. If you want Robbie to do an experience video about Lyft, you've worked Lyft, about Lyft.
Yeah, I would do that.
Leave a comment below and he'll explain to you like the ups and downs and come abouts and booty drop, all types of things about Lyft, because he has driven Lyft. And so maybe we could do that as another video if you guys want that, but definitely just even drop us a comment down below saying, hey, really enjoyed this video, or what possibly else you'd want to see in this, video, so that we can maybe address it in another video when and if we do make another one. So don't forget to do that. But leave us comments below. We definitely answer. I answer, and I get back to you guys as quickly as I possibly can. Do not forget to view those other 2 videos I made on Postmates if you are wanting to know even more about Postmates. I'm thinking about just doing a solid video, just myself talking about Grubhub. If you guys want to see that, also leave me a comment down below. And so I'll get more into the depths of just Grubhub instead of kind of comparing both companies, so that you guys can see if you want to work for both companies or not. Which leads me to, don't forget, if you do end up signing up with these companies and you want that extra oomph, I'm leaving those codes down below in the description box so that you guys can get paid extra money just for starting.
Free money.
Free
if you
money,
don't like
yeah.
free money, then
you're crazy.
I don't care if you don't even have to like money.
Yeah. Just extra free money, nothing to you. You guys get that money and get to keep it to start out with. Just pocket extra cash right up front in the beginning. Use those links and codes down below. I do wish I had those codes when I first started, because I didn't. So make sure you use those codes, and it just will give you a little bit of extra cash to pocket. And do you have anything else to add?
I mean, I've been doing Lyft longer than Postmates. Not as much volume, but have just as much experience. So if Simone asks nicely, then, and you guys really do want it, then I'd be happy to do a video, because I feel like Lyft has even more quirks in it than something like Postmates or Grubhub does.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so without further ado, we love you guys so much. If you like this video, and if you want another video like this, please don't forget to give this video a big, fat, juicy thumbs up, because we know that you guys liked it and you were watching it. Also, definitely leave us comments below, like I said, so that way I can interact with you guys. We can both interact with you guys, and we can just, kind of answer, or just help you guys in any way that we can, answer questions for you guys, or make even, like I said, another video. And don't forget, oh my gosh, this is so important, to check out my other social shenanigans at thatgirlsam_1. They are all at thatgirlsam_1, so there's no difference. My Instagram, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and my Musical.ly, they're all at thatgirlsam_1, so make sure you go and subscribe to those, and follow me on Instagram. I post on there a lot more often than I do pretty much anywhere else. Musical.ly's coming up. But anyways, don't forget to check out my Instagram. You'll pretty much see my life story on there. I love to share pretty much anything and everything I can with you guys, so don't forget to follow me on there. If you're new here, hello, hi, welcome!
Hi.
Hello! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We are in the 900s, people. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for supporting this channel as much as you guys have supported this channel, and subscribing and commenting and everything else. And if you want to be a part of this real entertainment, subscribe. Don't forget, definitely hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with my latest and greatest videos, whether they're funny or whether they're information videos like this, or whether they're review videos. We do a lot of stuff on this channel, so definitely want to hit that bell button down below so that you can keep up with all of my coming videos. And without further ado, just keep smiling. Never, ever, 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 ever stop dreaming. And remember,
pizza can be good for you.
Pizza can be good for you. Never thought of it that way. Okay, bye!